Deep in the heart of Berlin, concealed within the imposing walls of the Pergamon Museum, lies an ancient monument of immense scale and chilling reputation. Some call it the Throne of Satan. A relic from a lost world, it has journeyed through empires, survived wars, and become entangled with some of history's most notorious figures. But how did this colossal altar, originally from ancient Pergamon in Turkey, end up in Adolf Hitler's Berlin? And what does the Bible truly say about this enigmatic structure? Join us as we unravel the dark and fascinating history of the Pergamon Altar, a story that blurs the line between fact, legend, and historical intrigue. Is it merely a masterpiece of ancient art, or does a more sinister symbolism lie carved within its stone? Our story begins not in the cold halls of a German museum, but under the warm sun of the Aegean coast, in the ancient Greek city of Pergamon, now part of modern-day Turkey. Around the year 170 BC, a monument of breathtaking ambition was erected. This was the Great Altar of Pergamon. Dedicated to Zeus, the king of the Greek gods, it was far more than just a place of sacrifice. It was a statement of power, a testament to the city's wealth and cultural dominance. Imagine a structure nearly 100 feet wide, with a grand staircase leading up to a sacrificial platform, all surrounded by a magnificent high-relief frieze. This frieze, stretching over 370 feet, is what truly set the altar apart. It depicted the gigantomachy, the epic, mythical battle between the Olympian gods and the giants. Gods and monsters locked in a chaotic, violent struggle, their muscular bodies and tormented faces carved from marble with incredible skill and emotion. It was a scene of divine conflict, a story of order triumphing over chaos, frozen in stone for all to see. The altar was the centerpiece of the city's Acropolis, a symbol of Pergamon's might and its devotion to the divine pantheon that it believed secured its prosperity. For centuries, it stood as one of the wonders of the Hellenistic world, a beacon of art and culture. But as the ages turned, new beliefs would cast a long, dark shadow over this monumental tribute to Zeus. As Christianity spread across the Roman Empire, the old gods and their magnificent temples began to be viewed through a new, more suspicious lens. The city of Pergamon, with its vibrant pagan culture and plethora of temples, became a significant center for the early Christian church, but also a place of intense persecution. It's within this context that we turn to the final book of the New Testament, the book of Revelation. In a letter addressed to the church in Pergamon, the author, John of Patmos, writes a powerful and cryptic message. Revelation 2:13 reads, "I know where you live, where Satan has his throne. Yet you remain true to my name. You did not renounce your faith in me, even in the days of Antipas, my faithful witness, who was put to death in your city, where Satan lives." For many interpreters, both ancient and modern, this ominous phrase, "where Satan has his throne," pointed directly to the Great Altar of Pergamon. With its grand scale, its prominent position overlooking the city, and its dedication to the chief pagan god, Zeus, it was seen as the very symbol of the pagan power that opposed the fledgling Christian faith. The altar, once a site of civic pride and religious devotion, was rechristened in the minds of many as Satan's throne. This haunting nickname would cling to it through the centuries, transforming a historical artifact into an object of myth and dark fascination, long after its original purpose was forgotten and the city of Pergamon itself had crumbled into ruins. For over 1,000 years, the magnificent altar lay buried and forgotten beneath the soil of the Pergamon Acropolis. The glorious city faded into a small Turkish town called Bergama, its past splendors a distant memory. That is, until the late 19th century, when a German engineer named Carl Humann arrived. Humann was initially in Turkey to survey and build roads, but his passion for archaeology soon took over. While exploring the ruins of ancient Pergamon, he stumbled upon fragments of a massive, exquisitely carved frieze being burned in local lime kilns to make mortar. Horrified by the destruction of such incredible art, he knew he had found something extraordinary. With funding secured from Berlin, Humann began a formal excavation in 1878. What he and his team unearthed was beyond anyone's wildest dreams: the colossal remains of the Great Altar of Zeus. The German government negotiated a deal with the Ottoman Empire, and a monumental task began. The entire structure, weighing thousands of tons, was painstakingly dismantled, piece by piece. Each fragment of the frieze, every block of the foundation was carefully numbered, packed into countless crates, and prepared for an arduous journey. By ship and by rail, the ancient throne made its way from the sunny hills of Turkey to the heart of Imperial Germany. It was an archaeological coup of unprecedented scale. Back in Berlin, architects and artisans began the equally challenging task of reassembling this giant stone puzzle. The project was so vast that a new museum had to be built specifically to house it. Finally, in 1930, the Pergamon Museum opened its doors, and the great altar of Pergamon, reconstructed in all its glory, was unveiled as its undisputed crown jewel, reborn thousands of miles from its original home. Just 3 years after the Pergamon Museum unveiled its centerpiece, Germany underwent a seismic political shift. Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party rose to power, and their ideology would soon cast another dark shadow over the ancient altar. Hitler was obsessed with classical antiquity, particularly Greek and Roman architecture. He saw in these monumental structures a reflection of his own grandiose ambitions and a link to what he perceived as a heroic, Aryan past. The Pergamon Altar, with its colossal scale and its dramatic depiction of a life-or-death struggle, resonated deeply with the Nazi aesthetic of power, conflict, and domination. Albert Speer, Hitler's chief architect, was profoundly influenced by the altar. He used its design as a direct inspiration for the Zeppelinfeld Stadium in Nuremberg, the massive parade ground where the infamous Nazi Party rallies were held. The tribune from which Hitler addressed his fervent followers was a direct architectural quote of the Pergamon altar. By doing this, Speer and Hitler were attempting to co-opt its historical and symbolic power. They were positioning Hitler not just as a political leader, but as a quasi-divine figure, presiding over his new order from a modern-day throne. The altar became a centerpiece of Nazi cultural propaganda, its image used to project an aura of historical legitimacy and inevitable victory. While Hitler never physically moved the altar, he absorbed its essence into the very fabric of his regime's identity, forever linking this ancient masterpiece of Hellenistic art with one of history's darkest chapters. Today, as you walk into the Pergamon Museum and stand before the immense staircase of the altar, you are confronted with its many layers of history. For art historians and archaeologists, it remains first and foremost a breathtaking masterpiece of Hellenistic art. The dynamism, the emotion, and the technical brilliance of the gigantomachy frieze are unparalleled. It is a priceless window into the artistic and cultural world of the 2nd century BC, a celebration of human creativity and skill. Scholars are quick to point out that its original purpose was religious, to honor the Greek pantheon, with no connection to any concept of a biblical Satan. The name Satan's throne is an interpretation, a label applied centuries later by a different culture with a different worldview. Yet, the nickname endures, adding a layer of mystery and intrigue that continues to fascinate visitors and storytellers. It's a powerful reminder of how the meaning of an object can be transformed over time, reinterpreted by new cultures, and co-opted for new purposes, whether religious or political. The altar stands as a silent witness to the rise and fall of empires, the clash of beliefs, and the ever-changing tides of human history. It's a symbol of divine imagination, but also of human ambition, conquest, and the way we project our own narratives, both noble and terrifying, onto the relics of the past. So what is the Pergamon altar? Is it the literal throne of a fallen angel, as some biblical theorists have claimed? Is it a symbol of Nazi megalomania, a stage prop for a would-be dictator? Or is it simply a magnificent piece of ancient art, a victim of historical circumstance and misinterpretation? The truth, perhaps, is that it is all of these things at once. Its journey from a sacred site in Pergamon to a museum piece in Berlin, its transformation from a tribute to Zeus to the throne of Satan, and its appropriation by one of history's most destructive regimes, make it one of the most symbolically loaded artifacts on the planet. It challenges us to think about power, belief, and the stories we tell about our past. The altar is not just stone and marble. It is a repository of human history in all its glory and all its darkness. What do you think? Was it just an altar, or did it become something far more symbolic? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this journey into history's hidden corners, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more.